Now, I've been reading a lot recently, like a lot. I've suddenly obtained a reputation from my closest mates from being that guy that just reads a lot, like out of nowhere. So last year I managed to read a grand total of 4 books, which works out as 1 book every 3 months. But this year I've already read 6 books in 6 weeks. So how have I gone from 1 book in 3 months to 1 book a week? And that's exactly what I want to share with you guys. So firstly, why am I reading a lot more books in the first place? Well, books are basically the condensed memoirs of people's decades of struggle, like absolute gold mines of knowledge and experience put into just 200 or so pages. Therefore, if you're the sort of person that craves improving yourself, then it's an absolute no-brainer to read more. Before I get into my 5 tips, there are 2 really important prerequisites before we dive into the actual reading tips. So firstly, setting up the right environment is key for enhancing your ability to focus on reading and sustaining the habit of reading every day. So make sure you create a space that lets you know it's time to read, time to focus on reading and nothing else. So definitely keep your phone out of reach. I use classical music as a tool to aid my concentration. You can read in silence, but research has shown that classical music has increased focus and recall. Also, make sure you have a routine going. I like to read first thing in the morning after I've eaten my pre-workout meal, then just before lunch for both 20 minutes. Second is to make sure you have a good reason to want to read a book in the first place. So we want to keep our minds engaged and as possible. Having a solid why will anchor your mind's interest and curiosity, and you'll just keep going. I would say so if you're consistently not interested while reading a certain book, then either remind yourself why you're reading or just cut your losses and stop reading the book. Now, time for the actual reading part. So speed reading is something that takes practice, so persevere with it. However, I've got 5 tips that can help you increase the speed and efficiency of your reading. So tip 1, use a guide. So if you try and read at pace and you're not used to it, you may experience all of the words just blurring to one big mess. So using a guide such as a bookmark or any other straight edge is a good place to start your training. To train your mind to focus on each distinct part of the words. You get better in this trained focus. You may wish to stop using a guide. It took me like 3 months to get to that stage. Tip 2, chunking. So absorbing a lot of information at speed is a difficult skill to hone, but we can cut this curve effectively by reading less individual words. So our brain's short-term memory has a limit on the amount of pieces of information that it can process. So I like to stick words together into larger phrases. This effectively means that the brain will process a 3-word phrase as 1 piece of information instead of 3. So I combine chunking with focusing on the important information also. So ignoring any filler words that my brain can also just fill in the gaps. Tip number 3, read the page, don't recite it. So in a nutshell, reading with an internal dialogue going on in your head is slowing down your reading and processing power. By processing the information, your brain is able to focus all of its energy on the processing words rather than powering the internal voice also. Tip number 4, highlight. So by stopping to highlight at a point of interest, you're reinforcing the importance of remembering a specific piece of information for your brain. It's also helpful when going back through the book for important information that stood out to you at the time. Finally, tip number 5, make notes. So at the end of each chapter, I like to make a few notes on the main lessons I took away. I find this like highlighting a useful reinforcement exercise to trigger memories while recalling. So those are my tips on how to read better, faster and easier. So let me know if these are useful. And last one, how often do you read? I'm quite interested to hear how often you do. So let me know in the comments. But until next time, thank you guys for watching and I'll see you in the next one.